Hi everyone.
One day.
Let's click the troll. I want to do a quick impressions since I've had time now to actually play the alpha more than a couple hours. I want to just go over some good things, some bad things, and just talk about how I feel about the class. Um, this is gonna sound really negative, more than likely. With that being said, keep in mind I'm still planning on maining Demon Hunter Vengeance. I'm still planning and just making this my main. So I know it's going to sound negative, but I'm just trying to be realistic. With that being said, it's not as bad as it sounds, maybe. It really depends on you. So let's go ahead and start off with the good. The rotation feels smooth. Basically, everything works well together. You have Fracture to spawn the souls. You have Spirit Bomb to use the souls. You have Immolation Aura. Everything is used on cooldown, so the rotation in and of itself still feels fine. So mechanically, it works. Um, Overall, it feels a lot like the current version on Legion. So basically, if you enjoy playing Demon Hunter now, there's a high probability you will enjoy it in BFA. So that is good. So when I jumped in my first dungeon, everything felt right. There wasn't really any learning curve. I was still using Infernal Strike on cooldown, dropping my sigils, Immolation into a Fracture, into like Spirit Bomb. It feels the same. So there shouldn't be that big of a learning curve. So if you're accustomed to playing Demon Hunter now, you're gonna walk into BFA and it's gonna feel good. The change to Demon Spikes is awesome. It no longer causes pain. So basically now when I'm running like Mythic Plus or raids, I have to make a decision of, do I want to use 30 pain on Demon Spikes or 20 pain on Demon Spikes? Or do I want to not use that for mitigation, use it for damage instead? Because a lot of times until high Mythic Pluses, I don't need it and I'd rather just do more damage. Now there is no trade-off, I can just use it when I want to. That's nice. You can also use it as you jump in. So basically, you're going to go pull a giant group of mobs in Vault of the Wardens on teaming. You can pop Demon Spikes, then jump in. That way you're not squishy for half a second as you get the pain to cast it. That's a nice change. Soul Barrier is kind of broken right now. I like it. Basically, it is also free. It costs no pain. Off the bat, it gives you a shield for 9 at 110 with my current gear, which I'm under geared on Alpha. It gives me a shield for 9.2 thousand damage. I have 27,000 HP, so it gives me a shield for a third of my HP. And then for every soul I consume, it adds another 2,000 to the shield. And I was just playing around a little earlier, and I got a shield to be as big as my HP pool. So this is actually kind of broke. 30-second cooldown. It stays on you for 12 seconds. So you would do what you do on live, where you would want to pop Soul Barrier, jump in the pack, Fracture, Spirit Bomb. So every Spirit Bomb you use will increase the shield on you. It's really awesome. However, keep in mind this can be nerfed. So if this is nerfed, then we'll talk about the other talents. I liked Void Raver, but you're not spamming Soul Cleave, so you will not have 100% uptime of it. Well, you shouldn't be using Soul Cleave very often. So it sort of makes that entire talent just not very good. Last Resort is still good, but Soul Barrier is kind of awesome right now. We still have our mobility, especially if you talent into Abyssal Strike. You can jump around like crazy. We now have some utility. We have Charred. Was it Charred? Fiery. What is it called? Hold up. Let's look it up. Chaos Brand. So basically, whenever we do fire damage, that's your Immolation Aura, your Social Flame, Spirit Bomb. You put a debuff on the character or on the monster that you're hitting that will take 5% more magic damage. So basically, we bring a magic damage buff to the raid. But keep in mind, Havoc does as well. So if you have a Havoc Demon Hunter, we don't actually bring any utility because Havoc can also bring it. Sigil Chains. I should never looked at it. It doesn't say the radius. I'm pretty sure Sigil Chains is much larger now, which also increases utility. Let's take a look here. Oh no, hit that dinosaur, you'd kill me. Alright, so it looks like Sigil Chains is a little bit bigger than what it is on live, which is nice. So that's good. Um, the fracture change was also nice. I like this. Basically, instead of costing pain, you now have um, a generator. So you hit the target twice really fast. You generate 25 pain, and it does decent damage, physical damage. It's at a right now, 3.6 second cooldown with 24% haste. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Good change. Basically, it replaces shear. So a little problem with this. So I haven't even talked about the bad stuff yet. Um, if you use fracture, you can get to points where you have nothing to push. Granted, it's not as often, and it's also not for very long. But since you no longer have shear, there might be times where fractures on cooldown. You don't have pain nor souls to cast anything else. Immolation, Infernal Strike, everything else is on CD. You just have nothing to push. So that's can happen. So it's not as fast as live, but it's not that bad either. Um, so let's talk about the bad. And this is gonna sound really bad, and sorry. First off, they changed your pain via damage. Right now on live, you can jump in and start just getting hammered, and more people hit you, the more damage you do. That is gone. You no longer get any pain from damage. So what that means, you lose a lot of your ability to do more damage, meaning your rotation in and of itself becomes static. This is quite similar to Monk on live now. Not as bad as Monk, but starting to get there. Since the only way you can get pain is from fracture or shear or immolation or meta, and you can't get pain any other way, your rotation becomes static. So you fracture, spirit bomb. So the entire rotation right now is to fracture, spirit bomb, filler. So immolation or infernal strike. You don't use Through Glade unless you're pulling stuff, but sigil flames, fiery brand. So basically, is if you have fracture, you want to use it. If you have souls, you want to spirit bomb, and then use everything else you got. So the rotation becomes static. I'm not a big fan of this at all. I don't think it's enough to make me stop playing the class, but I liked the ability of getting more pain via damage, like jumping a giant pack in some Mythic Plus, like a 24 fortified, to know that I'm going to be like swimming in pain, popping out so many spirit bombs over and over and over. That's great. However, this also gives you the other added advantage that you can still do good damage if you're not tanking. So if you're in a raid and you're the co-tank and you're not taking active damage, you can still do decent damage. So there's also no siphon power. We don't have empower wards anymore. So on live, you would purposely pop empower wards, stand in some magic, and get a ton of agility, and this increases. My dogs are growling. This increases your damage. Like the best demon hunters will maximize siphon power. So the sheer amount of siphon power uptime and when to do it, those are the current best parsing demon hunters. That entire mechanic is gone. There is no more siphon power. There is no more empowered wards. Next, there is no more fiery demise window. So right now on live, Vengeance can burst so hard on pull using, Fiery Brand to open up the Fire Demise window, and then you do a Soul Carver, which we no longer have, and go into your meta, into your Archimon's Hatred Reborn, especially if you're using the belt. You can burst up to like 4 million on pull. There's so many Mythic Veramathras pulls that I've done, where I was in the top 3 or 4 DPS for like 15 seconds. It's dumb. That entire mechanic's gone. Sort of. You can tail it into Charred Flesh, which is the Fiery Demise window, except is only for 20%. Right now on live, you can have up to 70%. Also, keep in mind, as of right now, Fiery Brand lasts for 8 seconds with no way of extending it any longer. So you have 8 seconds of Charred Flesh. Instead of on live, you can get up to 17 seconds. You're losing Soul Carver, so that's another fire damage effect that you lost. Spirit Bomb is based on a set rotation, so you're not going to get as many Spirit Bombs into the window. So as of right now, Charred Flesh is just not good. So the entire Fire Demise burst pool doesn't exist. Another thing that is not very good is just like this is currently an issue now. There are really not many talent choices, meaning that to optimize your gameplay, you're going to be running Fracture, Feed the Demon, and Soul Rending. Just you're not going to use it. Spear Bomb does so much more damage, mind you. This can be tuned and changed before release. So as of right now, Spear Bomb does so much more damage than Soul Cleave that you would never not take Spirit Bomb. Fallout is still the best one in this row, so you're probably going to still use Fallout. Flame Crash is, I'm not going to say it's the go-to. On AoE, Flame Crash will be the go-to. Single target, Fellblade might be better. I know quite a few people are trying Fellblade, so Fellblade might be better in some situations. It's still too early to tell. Razor Spikes was just heavily nerfed. It was 30% more physical damage. Now it's 15%. So my Soul Cleave crits for 800. What's another 15% of that? Another 120 damage, right? So you talk about 920 Soul Cleaves, and my Spirit Bomb still hits, not even crits, hits for 1,000. So even using Razor Spikes, Soul Cleave is still not even close enough for Spirit Bomb. However, then again, you have to factor in the fracture damage with Razor Spikes. So it's still early to tell. I'm sure it could be useful on some single target, but as of right now, Abyssal Strike still seems like the go-to. So we have some new talents, but we still are sort of pigeonholed into the same talents we've been using. All this, so the no pain from damage, no siphon power, no fiery demise, no choices in talents. What this does is it creates a lower skill ceiling. So to be one of the top performers on live currently, you have to know when to position and where to position, where to move the bosses to maximize your damage. For instance, grouping the two dogs together at the beginning of the fight, or moving the ads in Phase 3 of Argus Heroic to stack in other ads, like stuff like that. You have to know your rotation. You have to know how to maximize siphon power. You have to know how to open up your burst window and how to maximize your burst fiery demise windows even after the pull. You have to play like a little game of how much damage can I take without risking my own life to maximize my damage output. And you take all of this, and most of it is now gone. So the skill ceiling to be the top of the top DH has been significantly lowered. Some people might like this. So this is going to be based on the person. Some people may want to, may enjoy this style better. Like it's always going to be a set rotation. I know what I'm pushing. Other people, myself included, is not going to be as happy with this change. Now, granted, I'm happy Siphon Powers has gone away because it felt bad as a raid leader, purposely standing in bad just to boost my damage. If it felt bad, like it's kind of toxic a little bit to do that. So I'm okay with Siphon Power being gone, assuming everything else is tuned well. But I don't like lowering the skill ceiling. Myself and a lot of other people put a large amount of time mastering the class as best as we can. So just to see that being diminished is just not. I don't know. I personally don't like it. So overall, still fun. Still feels the same. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still probably going to main it. I don't see myself playing any other class right now. However, keep in mind that there are some changes that you're going to have to get used to. And if you're like me who likes to maximize and optimize as much as possible, you might not like it. Just like how I don't like it. So that's how it's looking. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in down below. I'm going to start playing other tanks and get some videos out and impressions of other tanks in the near future. just to get something to compare a tank to other tanks. So if you have any questions, please leave them below, and thanks for watching.